So I want to help you reach your goals this year in 2024, but I want you to think about them from the perspective of what would bring you the most satisfaction in your life. Because that's what we set goals. We set goals because we want to be happier, because we're unsatisfied in a certain area of our lives. And the key here is knowing what we actually need and bringing more of that into our lives. So with Mighty Emotions and the Mighty Emotions method, I've developed this goal setting system and turned it into a free Notion digital planner for you to access. The link is below. And there's tutorials in there of how to use it and walking you through the process of using it because it really is different from the other goal setting methods that I've seen out there. And it's really going to give you the structure to create some meaningful goals. So today I kind of wanted to walk you through just the first bit of that process so that you could have an understanding of how this goal setting process is a little bit different. So if you're familiar with the Wheel of Life and positive psychology introduced the Wheel of Life, it's about assessing your life by area, right? By section. So you have friends, you have family, you have work, you have career, well, same thing. You have finance, whatever it may be, and looking at each area of your life individually to decide, okay, which area should I focus on this year for 2024? That's the first step, is doing an assessment, a life review, if you will. Because a lot of times we can be really happy in some areas of our lives and less happy in other areas of our lives. And there's no right or wrong way. You can choose to just focus on the areas where you're happy. But as an emotions coach, I have to tell you that when we don't confront the things that are making us unhappy, they tend to multiply and magnify and eventually seep into the other areas of our lives. So I don't want us to push anything to the side or brush anything under the rug. I want us to actually look at it, dive deep, confront it, and say, okay, I'm not that happy with my financial situation, or I'm not that happy in my relationship. And this is uncomfortable. But I want you to understand the difference between discomfort and pain, because a lot of times it's the same emotional response, or it's the same physical, I should say, response. In our brains, in our nervous systems, we associate discomfort with pain, but they're distinct things, right? We can get through discomfort on our own. We can get through with pain with other people. So having support for our pain and knowing how to move through our discomfort as we conduct this life assessment is going to be really important. Now, after we've conducted this life assessment, basically what we do is we go through each area of our lives and we say, here's where I'm satisfied today, and here is where I would like to be, right? And I had someone say to me, well, I want to be a 10, right? We're doing it on a scale of 1 to 10. And someone would say, well, I want to be a 10. Okay, absolutely. In the grand scheme of our lives, we all want to be at a 10 in our satisfaction in each area of our lives. However, is it realistic to go from a 1 to a 10 in 12 months? Probably not, right? We have some areas of our lives, like I said, where we're already going to be closer to a 10 than others. So we just want to be honest with ourselves. This is completely subjective. It's up to you. And you're the only one who can say how satisfied you are in a specific area of your life on a scale of 1 to 10. The most important thing is that you're honest, right? That you're not saying, oh, I'm really satisfied in this area when I'm not. Then the next step after conducting the life review is saying, okay, here's where I'm at today, here's where I desire to be in a year. That's again based on subjective level of satisfaction. Then you want to look at the areas that you scored the lowest. So the areas where you're a 1 today, but you want to be a 10, or the areas where you're a 2 today, but you want to be a 9, right? Where are the biggest gaps? And looking at these areas and pulling out 3 core areas of focus is going to help you really dial in your goals. So a lot of times when we go to like set vision boards or goal set, we get really excited and we think about the grandiose things. But this is about breaking it down to smaller, more manageable pieces and actually saying, here's what I can do in this area of my life. This is the area that I really want to focus on because this is where I'm least satisfied. And when we work on the area that we're least satisfied and we increase the satisfaction in that area, similarly to when, things aren't good and they start affecting other areas, when things are starting to get better, it's also improving these other areas. So we just want to be mindful of that and the balance and the harmony that comes into play there. And once we've decided that there are three areas we want to focus on, maybe next year you really want to focus on your financial health, or maybe you want to focus on your physical health, or maybe you want to focus on your family relationships getting better, or going to therapy to deal with difficult family relationships. Whatever those three areas of your life may be, then it's about understanding how to actually set goals in those areas. And this is where the Mighty Emotions method comes into play, because the core of happiness is having our needs met. And we don't just have safety, sustenance needs of like food, shelter, things like that. And we don't just have connection needs of community and healthy relationships. Those are two buckets, two categories of core needs. We also have core needs for freedom, so play and pleasure and fun, and core needs for meaning. So fulfillment, purpose, right? Creativity, drive, learning, things like this. And these four categories of needs, which if you're familiar with this podcast, you will know very well, are the cornerstones, are the pillars, are the building blocks of a happy life. So when we think about being happier in our financial life or in our physical health or with our family or whatever other areas we want to work on, we also need to drill it down to what category of need is most missing in this area of life, because that is the root of your dissatisfaction. So, for example, if it's your family, maybe you don't have connection with your relatives. Maybe even more so than that, you don't have safety with them. There's been a lot of pain and heartbreak and not a lot of, reparation. So, how can I look at that and say, what would having more safety in my family dynamic look like? Right? What would that experience be? What is that thing that you ultimately desire? We always start our goal setting by looking at what we desire, because that's typically what people think as their goals. I'm working toward this desired outcome. That's a flawed way of goal setting. And to be honest, it's really setting us up for failure because there's so many variables that we don't control, right? When it comes to having the things we desire. But using our desires will help us set our goals. And if you go through the Notion template that I've given you, this digital goal setting planner, it walks you through this step by step by step, and it breaks it down really simply for you to understand. So again, the link is in the description below. So now that we've looked at the three areas that we're going to focus on, and we've decided which category of need is most important for me to get here? Is it safety and sustenance? Is it connection? Is it freedom? Is it meaning that I want to focus on? That's going to help us build out our desires list. And again, try to keep it to three things, maybe four things, but keep the desired list short. And the desires list should be, if I was getting this need met in this specific area of my life, what would the experience be? What would the outcome be? What would the result be? And that becomes your desire. For example, let's say you chose friendship. Maybe you struggled with your friendships this year, or your friendships dynamics were really shifting this year, and next year you really want to have better friendships, better social interaction. So you're going to take friendship as the area of your life. You're going to say, okay, well, I want more freedom, for example, more fun, more pleasure in my friendships. And that's going to be your focus. And then you say for your desires, I see myself hanging out with my girlfriends every week, or I see myself going to these places with my friends or doing these activities. And those become the desires. That's your desires list. Then you turn that into aligned action and aligned goals. Now, goals should be measurable and actionable. So you want to look at those desires and think, what are the measurable and actionable steps I can take to get these desires met? So if it's going out with my girlfriends weekly, can I plan that? Can I create a group chat? Can I create a shared calendar? What is the thing I can do? Can I talk to my current group of friends? If it's doing certain activities with your friends, it's saying, okay, I'm going to sign up for these classes. I'm going to join these communities. I'm going to do these things so that I'm getting that desired outcome, right? So the desires list is the things we'd like to have, the experiences we'd like to have, because those are going to fulfill our needs and those are going to satisfy us. But the goals are the actionable steps that we're going to take to achieve this. So this is how we begin to build goals and structure our goals in a way that brings us more satisfaction and more fulfillment. And what we have to understand is that along the way, life is going to present challenges. And we're going to need to face these challenges. We're going to need to confront these obstacles. And again, within the digital planner, I give you a tool to do that and break that down. But here, I just want to point out the importance of emotion management in all of this. Because even as we're striving towards these things that we desire, things are happening in our lives. There are other areas of our lives to tend to, right? So we want to think about, okay, how am I confronting whatever discomfort is showing up for me? How am I getting support with whatever pain is showing up for me? Because some things are really deeply painful. They're not just uncomfortable, they're really painful. And that's when we require external support. Right? But how am I moving through this discomfort? How am I practicing the emotion management skills that I'm learning in the Mighty Emotions community, or I'm learning by reading, Outrunning Your Emotions? How am I doing all of this work on a regular basis to channel whatever negative energy is showing up into positive action, right? As we work towards our goals, you'll hear people say things like, your emotions aren't, you lose motivation, they're not important, you need to like discard them. Be stoic and don't get emotional and stick to your goals and grind it out and grit and hustle. And those are admirable things at times, grit and hustle, right? And I have a specialization in positive psychology, and part of that is grit, right? It's very important to us achieving outcomes. But life isn't something to just be achieved, it's something to be enjoyed. It's something that we deserve to have all of our core needs met. We are worthy of having safety and sustenance and freedom and meaning and connection. We deserve those things. So it's about understanding how we get those things, understanding that it's going to look different for each individual. We all have the same category of needs, but how that manifests and how that balances for each of us is going to be different. So we need to use this goal setting process to really understand ourselves, understand what satisfies us, and know that even when negative feelings are going to arise or we're going to have emotional discomfort because there's going to be things for us to work through. Again, you can use my book, Outrunning Your Emotions, and that will help you as a guidebook and a resource. You can go join the Mighty Emotions community and send me a message. I love chatting with you guys, answering your questions, absolutely. But it's about doing something, taking action, channeling that energy into positive steps forward. Oftentimes, when we avoid or we deny or we suppress, all we do is make that energy destructive in some way. Either we turn it toward ourselves and it's destructive, or we're expressing it outward to others in a destructive way, not even consciously all the time, right? Our emotions live in our subconscious, so we're not even fully aware of it all the time. So this is about setting these goals to get greater satisfaction out of your life, noticing whatever is coming up and channeling that energy into the action steps of, I'm going to do this thing that's moving toward this positive goal. I'm going to do this thing that's going to move me in the direction of having more satisfaction in my life, because you deserve that. Okay. And I really, really hope that you use this template, use this digital planner for the rest of the year, and that you encourage yourself along the way, that you can do these things not because somebody else did it or not because, it's expected of you, but because this is what you deserve. This is what you need to feel more satisfied. And as you do it, it becomes less of this, I'll be happy when I achieve this goal, and more of, I am so happy in the process of working towards this. I'm so happy on the journey of achieving this outcome, this desired outcome, because I'm doing the things already that are getting that need met in some small way each and every day. So with that, I really hope that this episode supported you. If you have any questions, like I said, you can contact me in the description. I have a link below to join my community, send me a DM, reach out to me on social media, whatever you'd like. And I'm always happy to answer your questions, either directly or via podcast. And definitely let me know how you feel about the Notion planner. I am using it myself and it is so supportive to me, to my clients as well. So I hope that it also gives you that support that you need to create a life that is fulfilling, a life of happiness, a life where your needs are met, because that's what you deserve. And I love you so much for listening, watching, and I will see you on the next episode. Bye.